There is a humongous gap. I mean, I can put my entire hand through that. Welcome back to the channel, guys. So today, let's have a look and see what we're doing. We've got all kinds of crazy stuff still to go. Got to put some jacking points in still. I think we're going to remove the gearbox today, just because we want to get that all clean. Yeah, so I think we'll get this removed, gurney it down, degrease it, and then we can, probably just paint up all the axles, get them all looking Mickey Mouse. We don't know the condition of the gearbox, but we'll just run it as it is. Change the oil, obviously, and if it changes gears, great. If it doesn't, well, then we do something about it later on. So for now, we'll just get it popped out and go from there. So I'm just waiting for Josh to arrive, and he's going to give me a hand to get it out, and yeah, we can go from there. Well, let's get Miss Purdy out of here. We'll take her up the driveway. Righto, so after the washing, we've let it dry. It's been sitting here a couple of days. As you can see now, we've got a little bit of surface rust on it, but that's okay because we are going to hit it with the good old Fahrenheit. And after we've done that one, then we're going to do the KBS as well. Actually, before we do that, we need to do a bit of a repair to the beam. You can actually see right there, there is a slight crack in that outer layer of the beam, and it actually is on this side as well. So you can see right there a very hairline small crack. So I'm going to clean this area up, and we're going to give that a clean up and re-weld. I might even use the TIG on this. I'll see. Might be just a little bit of a finer weld, and won't have to do as much grinding if I use the MIG. I'll leave these areas bare now, and I just want to get this coated so it doesn't rust any further. So we'll go and get the Fahrenheit and just give this a light paint over with a paintbrush. I'm not even going to spray it, just use the paintbrush. Okay guys, so what we've got is the beam all coated in the Fahrenheit. We're going to get a coat of KBS polyurethane on this next, and you can see our little repairs just there. That's where we welded up that little crack, so you can't even tell, which is good. And the other side there, and done. So that part's done. The gearbox over here, we'll just put a bit of Fahrenheit on that. I've just got to coat it a little bit more on this side here, and then we're just waiting for the boots to come. Then we can start getting this thing ready to put back in the bus. Now, a couple of things we've been working on here. This is going to be today's effort. It's trying to get all these door gaps sorted, and you know, I've got the door in position there, but we do have some alignment issues still. This gap here is way too much, and also we're out of square. This section here is actually pushed out quite a lot. It's got to come in about, I reckon, that much, so a fair bit. We're going to have to use the porta power here to try and manipulate and get this thing to sit right. Obviously, I think what's happened because of the smack in the corner, the whole front has twisted like this. So this has actually gone out and that has come in, and that's why it's kind of thrown it a bit out. So obviously the doors are really dictating where everything has to line up, so we're going to have to work on that. And you can see here that door gap there is pretty good, and that would be about right for the top of the door gap as well, allowing for the rubber. But we're very tight here and extremely tight there. So the door really just needs to shift forward, and in order to do that, we just have to move these hinges. This pivot point here has to come forward, same with the bottom one. So that'll take care of that. I'm not too worried about that side for now. It's the other side that we've got some major issues. And I will show you that just in a second. Righto, so in order to try and make some sense of this, I've sprayed a bit of copper spray inside here, and I've got the floor, and I'm just going to try and trial fit the floor just to see how far out this is to here on both sides, because you know, the measurements are just all over the place. So and obviously having the floor pressed and these spots here, they're going to be pretty close. So what I'm going to do is just chop off these two dog legs on both sides, because they're junk anyway. That'll just give us a bit more room to play with, and then we can manipulate these two pillars and find out where the floor's going to sit happy inside. So we'll chop these out now and go from there. Okay, so after a bit of palm slapping, we've got it in position, or almost. That corner there's looking pretty good. You can see here, this is not looking good. A bit of out of alignment there, but that's to be expected considering, you know, this is where the impact was and it pushed it in this direction. So not a big deal. It's just this inner guard here has to come forward to meet, you know, our floor, and our floor's straight, so we know that. Everything else around here is pretty good. No real problems there. Underneath, I just had a bit of a look underneath and everything's aligned up nicely. That pillar on the other side, you can see I've got the porta power just off here, and that's still not 100%. So you can see over here, we're still not happy there. Now what I'm going to do is just release this now, so it hopefully should come back in and fix our issue here. Let's just have a look. And no, it's not. Okay, so it's actually taken the tension off that completely. Let's try that again. Yeah, right, so I suspect that, yeah, it's under tension now. So we just need to not put our fingers in there, that's for sure. Yeah, and see that out here is not okay. Try that now. It's closing up a little bit. It's still not. I think what it's wanting to do is actually go inwards and not straight back. So let's just see if we can just push it back as well as down. Alright, let's see, we'll use two hands for this. Alright, so that's put him close to where it needs to go. A little bit of a gap, but that's okay. I think what we're going to do now is leave this floor in for now, and we can come back now to the doors and hang, or attempt to hang both sides and see where we're at with the gaps, because at least now we know that the bottom pillars are in the right spot. I've got a feeling this top corner here still needs to go this way quite a lot, so we might have to use a block and tackle and maybe just chain it off the hoist, and that should be able to bend her in. So yeah, let's continue. We'll get the doors hung. We've pretty much adjusted both sides. I've got this section here sorted out just by pulling up on the bottom panel, so I can screw that into position like that and that'll be correct. So that's all good. Everything's A-OK inside, but we have a serious issue over here with this door. As you can see here, there is a humongous gap. I mean, I can put my entire hand through that. Majorly. Put my hand right through that. Now, you can see that the hinges obviously are nowhere near lining up. And up the top here, we're hard up against the top of the frame. Hard up against the top of the frame. Or on the back here, we've got probably the right amount of gap. Right amount of gap all the way down to there, and then obviously hard up against the bottom here on this. So from this panel to the door, we're correct, but obviously from the front here, we're not. So I suppose looking at the impact on the other side and how physics work and how the panels move, you can pretty much work out, because it's copped a really substantial whack here in this corner and it's pushed this in, what it's done to the whole entire nose is push that out. So this has come out, that's gone in. So we're going to have to work out a way of pushing this guy, this A-pillar, in that direction to close up this gap. And it's quite a big gap, as you can see, pretty much all the way down. Now, if you look at the floor inside, the floor's pretty close to being where it needs to be. So I think there's probably 10 mil down there that can come in and that will close up this bottom section down here. That'll close that up, so that can go in, but it's really this top section here that we're looking at, you know, 25 mil to an inch, probably more than an inch actually. So, you know, even if I just put my hand like that, you know, they've got so much play in these things. I mean, they were hand built. What I'm going to do is use the block and tackle and probably just chain it up off the hoist and just see if that's enough power just to get that corner to come in. It's going to be an experiment. We'll see how it goes. Righto, so you can see my little ghetto setup, block and tackle, just off the strut there, and I've just used a strap to go down to the rear torsion tube, which is probably the heaviest part of the car, and yeah, gave it a little bit of a pull. It only needed probably 2 clicks, and it was enough to pull it in. So I'll just disassemble that quickly, chuck the door on there, but I think we're cooking with gas. So let's check it out. All right, let's have a look at this door. As you can see there, we have a hinge that lines up, and we've got a nice door gap. Might be still a little bit tight through here, but we can adjust that. The top looks good. Back looks good. I think all we've got to do now, I can actually run the pin through that in a second. Just this bottom bit here is a little bit out. You can see there that hinge is not quite lining up. So I think what has to happen here is the door's okay there. I mean, obviously we're going to have the bottom dog leg on, but I would say looking at this, this panel here has to go that way slightly, and that would also be right, because if you look at this little kink here, it's not lining up with that one. So we've just got to stretch this that way, which will then pick up the hinge point, and we should be home and hose. Only taken most of the day. One of those things, and we'll get there slowly. I'll just keep edging along on it and see how we go. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is just finish off welding up the front valance and getting all the braces put in. Now that we know that we've got everything on the front here where it needs to be in terms of the hinges and doors, I can now weld this guy here in, and this lower support, that's got to go in there like so, and then we've got these guys that are going to go on top as well, so we can get them welded on both sides. Once that's done, then we can also finish off welding inside here to get that front nipped up, that inner skin, and then we can also get the outer nose cone, which is that part there, and get him welded into position as well. And then after that's done, that'll sort of give us a little bit more rigidity on the front end. We're still not quite ready to weld the floor in, even though it is in its position. We're going to pull it back out. We've got to drill some holes to plug weld it around, and then also get the lower dog legs done too. So that'll probably be done on another day. I think what I'll do today is just finish off this support on the other side and the braces, and then call it good. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of plug welds on this section here, and then we'll fully weld around it. But that's pretty much that A pillar bottom section done. I'll just weld the inside of it as well once I've got the floor out. But yeah, we can at least get this all nipped in the bud now and done. Okay guys, so we've got the driver's side door on as well, and I've just put a little bit of a clamp up there to hold it where it needs to go, and we've got a good gap here. Obviously there's going to be a panel through this section here. getting there slowly. I mean, look, the hinges are still not in exactly the right position, but what I've done is I've clamped this side and the other side as well, and it's kind of where they need to be. This one here needs to come back slightly. You can see that gap there's a little bit too big, so we've got to come back about 2 mil, and you can see through there's a bit of a gap in there as well. So they're getting there. They don't shut on their own yet, so I think a little bit more fendangling with these guys, because you know you can bend these and you can bend it like 0.5 mil this way and it just, you know, puts 20 mil on the other end. So you've got to get the bend right in order where to get the door to shift, and then you've got inner and outer adjustments on the screws. They're a bloody nightmare, I tell you, getting these things to work. The cargo doors are no better, but at least we're square. I've taken some measurements through here now, and at least we're not crooked anymore. We're where we need to be. Yeah, slowly. It's you know, it's a hard bit trying to get these things to line up. I reckon that door gap just here could get a little bit closed up as well. That's getting a little bit too much there as well. So I think this door needs to actually come forward. That one's got to go back. This one's got to go forward. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, thanks for dropping in and checking it all out, and we'll see you in the next episode.